We've not had that before. I don't like it.
Go mute. Hey everybody, welcome to Fork Mike Knife. This is episode 8 of season 2. Thanks so much for joining. Our guest today is Gabe Dixon. Let me go ahead and bring Gabe into the screen.
Yay.
Hey.
Hi, Gabe.
Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Bill.
How are you, Gabe?
I'm pretty good. Having a nice, relaxing Sunday at home.
Awesome. Us too.
Yeah.
We decided to go from where we live, which is in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, down to Ocracoke for the weekend. So we drove back up this morning and excited to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Couldn't wait to get here.
What's down there? Is there a beach down there?
It's an island, so there's a beach all the way around it.
Just a different beach than the beach we live at here. It's a cute little island with lots of arts and crafts type stores, some really nice restaurants and coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah.
Just kind of a different vibe. And after 8 months of COVID, we just wanted to get away.
Sometimes it's nice to find another place to be by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang out at home
Really
by
was
yourself.
that.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Had a good beach day and some great food and some great craft cocktails at a really cute spot. So we're ready to meet the weeks.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous at this point. But I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. You know, I've never let anyone into my kitchen who wasn't actually in my kitchen.
Well, thank you for trusting us to be the first.
Yes, so the concept of Fork Mike Knife is as if we were hanging out either in your kitchen or in our kitchen, just cooking together and chatting and kind of capturing that. The only difference now is we happen to be 750 miles apart.
Just a little bit.
But doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
here we are,
I
alone
know.
together.
So we asked you to cook something. What have you decided to cook?
I'd like to cook a sun-dried tomato pesto pasta with roasted Brussels sprouts.
Awesome.
And this is one I do a lot of cooking, but this is one that's kind of just a go-to for me. And I started making it about a couple of years ago. I started on a kind of a major health kick, and I just started just eating like plants basically.
Sure.
And watch all these documentaries, and you know, the trying to avoid like added sugar and all this stuff is unhealthy. And so I was in the supermarket and I was like, I'm just going to make a pasta. I'm going to find a pasta with a tomato sauce. And I'm in the supermarket aisle and I'm looking for a tomato sauce, and every single jar of like Prego or Ragu or Prego or whatever it is, they all have added sugar. They have like the third ingredient or something. And so I'm like going through every single one. And I'm like, sugar, wow. Except for the ones on the top shelf that were like $25 a jar. And so I was like, what can I do? And I just went on my phone and looked up a recipe, and I happened to find this one. It happened to be by Giada De Laurentiis.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, she's great. And so it was a sun-dried tomato pesto, and I've sort of adapted the pesto to be a vegan pesto. or sorry, I adapted the Parm to be vegan Parm.
Right.
And then my wife told me about this Brussels sprout recipe, and so that's what we like.
For those people interested, we will post after today's episode. We'll post all the recipes of what we made today. So Gabe did share with me the recipe, including the vegan Parm recipe. I would say we also went through a similar realization, and I would say we're probably about 75% vegetarian, maybe 10% vegan, because I like cheese pot.
So we have used that Parm before, and you know, when you're making a lasagna or ratatouille, or you know, like you're making a pasta tonight, I really don't notice that distinct difference. I think the only time I do is when I really have a nice Caesar salad and I want that shaved Parm on it.
Yeah, no, cheese is a really tough one to let go.
It sure is.
I occasionally eat it myself, for sure. But yeah, I think. Oh well, first of all, what are you guys making?
Yeah. Well, we decided to make just a quick dessert, and it is, you can make it either vegan or vegetarian. And I've posted, or will post the recipe, so it'll show you the difference. And that's based on the thickening agents. It's a strawberry mousse. And you know, you talk about sugar. Literally, this has strawberries, vanilla, and 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Nothing else. The interesting aspect is the whipped part that lightens and makes this such a fluffy, really special dessert is using aquafaba, which is basically when you take a can of garbanzo beans and you strain the liquid off, that liquid is called aquafaba. And believe it or not, it's like magic. You guys will see it. It does take a full 5 minutes. So, Gabe, while you're cooking, we're going to be whipping that up.
Okay.
But it literally looks like a cross between a really stiff egg white and a whipped cream. It's just fantastic. But we'll take you through that.
Okay.
And Gabe, if you don't mind, I think we'll start first.
Okay.
And then we're going to switch back and forth as you're prepping and talking us through. But is there anything that you wanted to ask him before we got going?
No, let's get going.
All right.
Maybe later I've got some questions for Gabe.
Yeah, absolutely. You ready?
Yeah. Should I start like chopping vegetables while you're
I
explaining?
think that's a good idea.
Yeah, if you want to, we keep it a split screen so that people can see what you're doing while we're doing and speaking to what we're making. If you just mute yourself, it cuts down on your background noise, and then we do the same thing for you. So it just makes everybody focus on whoever is up to bat.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we'll talk to you in a second.
I'm going to cut some Brussels sprouts while you're talking.
Have fun.
All right.
Hello, y'all. All right, we're going to make strawberry mousse. And like I said, it's a different one. And a lot of people that I shared this with over the week, because we did a test run, were like, I'm not so sure about this, Cheryl. I'm really not sure about this stuff called aquafaba. Isn't it going to taste like garbanzo beans? And pleasantly, it does not. It tastes like the fruit that you're using. The recipe that I'm going to post, I am only using strawberries today, but the recipe post will show that you can do either raspberry or strawberry, or you can do half and half. It's just a step that we're not doing, and that is, you know, a lot of getting the seeds out of it. So the other thing is, Bill is manning the laptop. So if you have questions, please ask, because we're going to keep track of those as well. And as we go through today's show, if there are some that we don't get to, we will answer those in turn once the show is over. All right, so I have my recipe ready. The first thing we're going to do is blend up the first set of ingredients. And that literally is 7 ounces of strawberries. I use just a regular kitchen scale, whatever works for you, to make sure that you've got that right amount. I also have the recipe listed in grams and that type of thing. So for some of the folks that are friends of mine that do not live here in the States, it made it a lot easier transition for them to do their measuring. All right, so I put the vanilla, the syrup, and the strawberries in. And our capable camera person is going to mute it for just a second, because I'm going to make a little bit of noise. All right, the beauty of part of this is just the sheer color. I mean, if you could just smell it, can you? It just smells wonderful, and it smells sweet, but it's because of the fruit. So the second step of this is we're going to do coconut cream, which is the other piece of this that is a sweetener. It's not coconut milk. It's definitely the coconut cream. So it does have a bit of a sugar content to it. But when you see the volume of this dessert, you'll see that it just kind of all blends in and kind of equally distributes. All right, so what's going in the saucepan? The first thing I'm going to do is mix. I have a tablespoon of water, and this is called, what is it? Agar. Yeah, it's agar. So it's basically a thickening agent. You could use, if you don't have this and you don't get it in time from Amazon, you can use gelatin. And again, it gets back to vegetarian, vegan, or are you okay with gelatin? So that's something that, you can substitute out based on your preferences. All right. So I'm going to move this over here real quick. And I'm going to put the coconut milk in here. And in order for this thickening agent to kind of do its thing, you have to heat things up. So I'm just going to heat this up really quick. Any questions, Billy?
Some of our regulars saying hi to each other.
Oh, that's nice.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Amy.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Tara.
Aww. It gets really exciting because this is typically like Old Home Week every time we do this. We have quite a few regulars who not only love to cook and enjoy music, they love the artists that we try to support. And being able to feature Gabe today is just such a pleasure for us. We're really tickled that he chose this particular method, I guess, now that we're in the virtual world, to share his home and his recipes. So as you can see, Emma, if you want to come in here, this is starting to just kind of blend. It's not like you're going to bring it all the way to a boil, but similar to when I think you guys, if you've been watching us, we've made simple syrups. It's just a matter of getting the sugar part of it to melt. And that's exactly what we've done here.
Wow, that looks so good.
That's it.
Sugar. I just have to qualify what I said about sugar earlier.
Yeah.
I love all things sweet and sugary for dessert.
Oh my gosh. I'm not just what we had this morning on the way home.
I'm just not a fan of it in my tomato sauce, even though it probably makes it taste better.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just want tomato sauce,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this is about ready. I can just see a little bubbles forming. All right, Emma, I'm going to move over and I'm going to put this in here because we're actually, now that we've heated it up, we're going to mix it with the strawberries and we're going to cool it down because we're going to need to turn this into a mousse. And you can't mix that lovely inflated whipped mixture into a hot content because it will then deflate it and that's not going to be suitable for what we want. All right, Gabe, I've gotten going and if you want to give us a kickoff on yours and we'll grab it back.
Yeah.
I get the aquafaba totally blended.
Okay. So I start with the Brussels sprouts. They take the longest to cook. So I start with them and I preheat the oven to about 450 because I find that it's better for these if they're at a higher temperature for a shorter time than a lower temperature for a longer time. And I just buy some like Brussels sprouts from the grocery store that you can get them pre-cut or you can cut them. I've been cutting these Brussels sprouts pretty much in half. So I don't know if you can see this, but I just go halvesies on them like that so that they're just halfway cut. And then what I do is I take these, and I put them, I need to like coat them with salt and whatever else I feel like, really. I like to put salt and garlic and what else? Nutritional yeast on these, but in order for them to get coated, they really need to have some oil. So I like to put some olive oil in this thing and just kind of like, the Brussels sprouts recipe is more imprecise than the other recipe I'm going to do. But basically, you put some oil in there, and then you dump the Brussels sprouts in. And I like to just like kind of mix them around like this. I got way too many Brussels sprouts in here. Let me get a bigger bowl. Hang on. And I'm definitely a believer in the whole like make it messy. Like if you're kind of messy when you're cooking, it's probably going to taste better. I found that to be the case. But so I just kind of like stir these Brussels sprouts and like stir them around and throw them up in the air so that they're all covered with the oil. And you can kind of see they have a bunch of oil on them now. And
you're definitely a happy cook, Gabe.
What?
You look like you're having fun. You're a happy cook.
I am. I enjoy this. So then once they're covered with oil, I just take some salt and basically just like put a bunch of salt in there and a bunch of, a little bit of nutritional yeast. Again, I don't even measure this stuff. I just kind of put what I think. And I kind of, and garlic powder. I like to put garlic powder in here. And with these, I feel like with roasted Brussels sprouts, I think the salt really, the more salt the better to a point, just because it just makes them taste so good. We love salt in our house. And so I just stir it around like this, and then I just toss it up in the air. Drop one on the floor.
The one thing about salt, Gabe.
What?
The one thing I'll say about salt is, obviously it adds so much. It makes food taste more like itself by adding salt. But salt takes time to melt. So when you put it on, you need to wait for it to melt before you see if it's too salty or not,
You need to wait for it to
melt.
Oh. What do you mean? Like it needs to cook longer if it has salt on it?
No, what happens sometimes is people will put salt in, taste it, and it's not salty enough, so they put more salt. And what's happened is it just hasn't melted into it. So you're not really tasting it, so they end up over salting. So, that's my cautionary tale.
Yeah, my experience has been on the side of things.
Sure.
You're heating something up, the salt in, and immediately taste it, right? Put the seasoning, you want that profile, and what you end up doing is, I don't have enough in there. Wait.
Right.
then try adding.
That's why I often like to use salt at the finished salt. So
at the what?
Out, and then it's sitting right on top of the food, and so you put the food in your mouth, whatever it is, and you taste the salt first, and it's not too much salt.
That's a good idea. I guess it's probably good not to put too much on early on because you can always add more, right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
This is pretty well mixed and getting like nice and shiny and salty and stuff. So what I like to do now is, I don't know if you can see this, but I just have a pan. It's not coated with anything. I just drop all the Brussels sprouts on it. And I'm going to cook these for like maybe 30 or so minutes and flip them about halfway through. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in and set a little timer for myself. And how do I do that? There it is. Okay. 30 minutes. now that I've done that, do you have something you want to show me, or can I keep on showing what I'm gonna?
What I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna be mixing for 5 minutes straight and it doesn't stop, you're gonna get a full 5 minutes. This is when you take the aquafaba and you mix it with, I think this is you can either use xanthan gum, which I got from Amazon, or you can use, what is it that I didn't have? Cream of tartar. So I'm just gonna mix these two together, and I'm going to put that in my stand mixer. I'm gonna put it on the highest speed you can do, and in 5 minutes we'll have beautiful peaks. The other thing, and I'll just point out, you probably saw me, I wasn't really tasting, but I have ice under here. I needed to cool that down, as I mentioned earlier. So I just kept whisking it, just allowing this bowl of ice to do its thing to that hotter liquid. So take it away.
Okay. I think that's the first time I've actually seen xanthan gum in real life. I always see it in the ingredients list, and I'm like, what is that? Okay, it's a real thing. So let's see. Right now, I'm gonna make the sauce, the sun-dried tomato pesto, and all that takes is this jar of sun-dried tomatoes. It's sun-dried tomatoes in oil, and it's like you can get it in the produce section. And then, you know what? Actually, I'm not gonna make that part of the sauce yet. I'm gonna make the vegan parm, and once I make the vegan parm, then I'm gonna make the sun-dried tomato pesto. But what I just realized is I don't have any basil, so I have to go get basil from our garden, because we have a garden where we have basil. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna take you with me out to my garden to see if we have some basil, which we usually do because we have lots of basil growing there. So here's my my family and my dog. We're playing. They're playing out here. And here's our garden. It's not very big. It's like 8 by 4, but we happen to have a lot of basil. We have so much basil. So I just grab from the top a bunch of basil. They say it should be one cup of packed basil, but I'm a freak for basil, so I'm getting just as much basil as I feel like getting. 2 cups, sure, that sounds great. And so I think that'll probably be good. Hey, there's my son Liam.
Hi. Where is he?
Here's my son Luke. Hey.
Hi.
So I'm just picking some basil for these folks. You have a mosquito on your cheek. All right. So that's about that much. A lot of times I like to do more, but just because I feel like the dish, for my taste, only gets better the more basil I put in it. So if I ended up with 2 cups of basil, that would be twice as much as the recipe calls for, but it still tastes good to me. So basil is good to go. And I'm just gonna set this over here. And I also need some garlic. So what I do is I get the garlic clove, and sorry guys, let me get my camera set here again. And I can already hear the Brussels sprouts crackling in the oven. This is awesome. And so when it's got the cut, it's kind of hard to get the outside of the garlic off, like the skin of the garlic. So I like to smash it with a knife. Or we have this like fancy garlic roller thing, but I just usually use the knife to just bam and then take the garlic off. And so that's going to be the sun-dried tomato part. First, we're going to make this minimalist. Oh, I see Bill's going to get some basil as well. So I'm going to start with the vegan parm, which calls for roasted cashews. I have to cut this minimalist baker recipe in half. It calls for 3/4 of a cup of cashews, but I cut that in half, which is just a little more than 1/3 of a cup, I guess, if my math is correct. So I take the cashews and put them in the food processor. All right. A few more. And then we're going to get, I'll cut 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast in half, which would be 1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. 1.5. And then these cashews already have some garlic on them. So I'm not going to do, they already have some salt on them in the package. So I'm not going to do quite as much salt as the recipe calls for. But I am going to do about 1/4 plus 1/2 of salt. If I can find it. I like to use this Himalayan sea salt, which is pink. Wow. Whatever that is looks good too. And 1/4 teaspoon plus 1/2 teaspoon. And that's probably going to do it. And we can't forget the garlic powder, which is going to be what is that?
That is the aquafaba.
Wow.
Is that gorgeous or what?
That looks really good.
Yeah. Well, here's the trick, and it will tell you this in the recipe. They want stiff peaks so that when you do this, it doesn't come out of the bowl.
Oh, it's like a meringue or something.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. Sorry for the lapse in time. We were so close.
Oh, I'm actually going to start this food processor to make this.
Oh, good. Then I'll put it together and then we'll be back at you.
Okay.
All right. So as you can see, we have this beautiful fluffiness. And what you don't want to do is deflate it. But you have to get the liquid into there. So we're going to do a folding technique. And we're going to put in about half of this liquid. And it scared me to death the first time I did it, because I thought for sure it's just going to become a big oogie mess. So let me just dry this off because I don't want any more liquid other than what I'm putting into the bowl that belongs there. All right, so you can get in, Emma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put about 1/2 of that liquid in there. Nope, all good. Okay. So when I talk about folding, you literally are bringing the liquid that's down in the bottom of your bowl, you can see it resting down in there, into the meringue, into this beautiful fluffy mixture. And you want to do it slow and methodically. And as you can see, it will start blending in. And I'm going to get this the majority of the way through, add the rest of it. And the goal is to try and not have any, very little, of the liquid down in the bottom of the bowl. You want it into that meringue.
Wow.
But look how beautiful the color starts turning.
That is so amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
And there's no dairy whatsoever.
No, sir. No, it's
Wow.
just amazing. And if you just smell how much this smells like strawberry with a little bit of coconut to it.
Wow.
All right, so we've got the majority of that off the bottom. Let me get the rest of this in here. Yeah.
Kai was talking about adding balsamic to the Brussels sprouts.
Oh, absolutely. And we were going to ask you if you add balsamic to your Brussels sprouts by any chance. I know that we do, but we typically wait till they're ready for service. So
Oh,
we thought we'd bring Kai into the mix of the conversation there by finding out if you actually use balsamic as well.
never have, but this is an improvised recipe, so I'm always open to improvements, and I'll definitely try that.
It's yummy.
So you think after it's done cooking, like maybe add some before you serve it?
Yes, that's typically how we do it. I'm always afraid, if you've done any kind of balsamic reduction, you've got reduction. So it's a timing thing. For us, we try to do it at the end so that you get that nice vinegar flavor without it becoming hard or burnt.
Okay. I was going to make the sauce now if you want me to show you how I'm
Yes,
how I do that,
please.
aside from the, so we have basically the sun-dried tomato sauce minus the Parmesan is the garlic, the basil, the sun-dried tomatoes in oil, and some salt and pepper, and that's it. So I like to start with the garlic on the bottom, just so that, shoot, I should probably put the thing back in. Hold on. I like to start with the with the garlic on the bottom, so that the blade really chops it up. So I'll put the garlic, and then I put the basil on top of that, and then I like to put the sun-dried tomatoes in oil, which, I mean, this really is not that healthy, but it's so freaking delicious. Just pour them in. And the salt, uh-oh, where's the salt? Here it is. Oh, here it is. So salt, some pepper, and then I just kind of process it for maybe 30 seconds or something. So I'm going to turn this off while I do that.
Hey, Gabe, while we do that, we have a video, right? You sent me a video. I think is it the first song off the new album?
It is. The new album won't be out for another few months, but it's the title track on the new album, and it's the first song. Yeah. So
while Gabe blends up that sauce, let's go ahead and play that song.
Cool.
I thought maybe I could play you one of the songs from the new record. This is the title track, and it's called Lay It On Me. Pretty words can mean a lot, be everything, but when they're not, sometimes you need just a little bit more, yeah. Be creeping in the fears and doubts, you need a sin to go without, and your highest me just hit the floor. That's when I need to come home. If you're about to take the fall, well, I want you to wait a moment. If you're about to blame yourself, well, I can't even give you help. Whatever it is you think you did, well, you don't know the half of it. Lay it on me, lay it on me. It's never easy when your head is wrong. It doesn't mean you play along. It only leaves if we say so, yeah. It's not a place you ever find. Happiness is just a state of mind you never see if you're looking low. Whoa, whoa. Lean on me, I'll walk you home. If you're about to lose your mind, well, maybe just before you cry, I know I can make you smile. I can keep your makeup dry. Before you curse the stars above, come over here, I'll give you love. Lay it on me, lay it on me. If you're about to to take the fall, I want you to wait a moment. If you're about to blame yourself, well, I can't even give you help. Whatever it is you think you did, well, you don't know the half of it. Lay it on me, lay it on me. Every lover needs a friend, every friend needs a lover. Every lover needs a friend, every friend needs a lover. So whichever one it is, oh, you know I got you covered. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're about to take the fall, well, I want you to wait a moment. If you're about to blame yourself, well, I can't even give you help. Whatever it is you think you did, you don't know the half of it. Lay it on me, lay it on me. You're about to lose your mind, maybe just before you cry. I know I can make you smile, baby. I can keep your makeup dry. Before you curse the stars above, come over here, I'll give you love. Lay it on me, lay it on me. Lay it on me, lay it on me.
That was a great one. That really was. Gabe, 2 seconds, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. People were watching me while you were chatting before we took the break. I actually have not played it, but I have distributed the wonderful strawberry mousse into serving containers that we're going to have later tonight. But because Billy ran out to our garden, I went ahead and garnished with a little piece of basil. And I'm one of those OCD things that I don't like mess when I'm doing something in addition. So I have this wide mouth funnel, and it allows me to get the good stuff in without making a mess on the side. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to put this in the refrigerator until we're gobbled it up.
Okay. I think probably what I'm going to do now is flip the Brussels sprouts, which is just kind of stir them around. Oh my goodness, yeah. And basically turn them over here and there, stir them around. They're starting to get nice and crispy. So I guess we want to try to get them evenly toasted. All right. And something like that. They're going to go back in for a few more minutes. And while they're in there, I've got my sun-dried tomato pesto situation going. And this is the vegan parm. So while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to turn the pasta water on, which is right here. And take this vegan parm and mix this pesto in here. Basically, like, just straight up toss it in there. And I like to use one of these little whisks to, or not a whisk, what do you call this? A spatula. It's a spatula, right? Sorta. You can tell I'm such a professional cook. And I just basically do that and whisk, or mix it all around until the parm mixes with the sun-dried tomato basil mixture. And that's going to basically be our sauce. And once this water boils, then I'll just put the pasta in. What is that you have there?
Yeah, I thought I'd tell you. So since you're making pasta, we thought we'd have some red wine with your pasta.
Now I really wish we were doing this in person. Sorry.
What I decided to open, Cheryl went out to California to a vineyard called Prisoner. I don't know if you've ever had their wine, but their primary wine is called Prisoner, and it's a Cabernet Sauvignon blend, and it's amazing. I recommend Prisoner. This is a unique bottle. This is their Pinot Noir version. And so that's what we're having with your pasta.
Heck yeah. Wow.
We're just sorry you're not here to pour it for us.
Me too. That would be nice.
This one, the Pinot Noir, is called Eternally Silenced. And it's quite good.
Yeah. So cheers to you, Gabe.
Cheers. I'll have to pour myself some.
I wish we could pour it for you through. Gabe, we met at the first time we met was at TFDI Fest, which is a festival that Cheryl. You're not even.
I was listening.
TFDI Fest, which is a festival that we host. We've had it twice now in Evanston, Illinois, at an amazing venue called Space. And Gabe, you were kind enough to come play that festival. For anyone online that's not familiar with the band TFDI, TFDI stands for Totally Fun Doing It. That's the name of the band. It's a up of 3 people. It's Jay Nash, Tony Luca, and we hope to do that festival again someday. We took the year off. Probably a good year to take the year off. We were the year off with TFDI anyways. So that was probably on everyone's part. So.
Yeah, that is such a fun festival. It's like a little weekend camp or something, weekend retreat, because it's a lot of both the years I've done it. It's a lot of artists who I already knew or even have written with, like Garrison Starr and Jay and Whiskey Wolves of the West, who are also Nashville natives like me, and it's just a good community of like singer-songwriters that just kind of hangs out in Space, which is like the best.
Love that venue.
Really one of my favorite top 3 venues of that size in the country, for sure.
The sound there is incredible.
It's a nice intimate venue. I think 250 maybe is capacity there. Oh, it's just great, and it's good for what we do with our festivals. So we love it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope you guys do it next year. I really do.
I hope so too.
I would love to be part of it.
It's not always up to us.
Right. Yeah, I love that venue because it's got a huge grand piano. So when I love to play solo there because I can really like dig in and just, if I have a really nice piano to play, I can just kind of lose track of time and just start playing, and before I know it, I've just been noodling on the piano for like 5 minutes when I didn't plan to. So I love that about it.
For anybody that is watching today that has not heard of the festival or been to the festival, feel free to YouTube TFDI Fest, Gabe Dixon. I tell you, it was just incredible. And to have you jump in all over the place was absolutely stellar.
Thank you.
So, Gabe, I was checking out Spotify earlier today and just kind of looking back at your history. So correct me if I'm wrong. First album came out in 2002. It looks like you did 2 albums with the Gabe Dixon Band, and you've done 2 solo albums since. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 that have been released. And a handful of EPs along the way from the band and my own thing. But yeah, I met my band back in college at the University of Miami, and we moved up to New York after graduating, and we did a couple albums, and we were a true band, and it was always the same personnel and everything. And then we just kind of hit a point where we'd been playing together for 10 years, and I just decided to make a record on my own. And the drummer, Jono, my good friend, he is now plays with the Wood Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Did we lose?
We lost him. Are we still in the picture?
All right, we lost your audio.
We lost you there for a second.
I think you're back.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
And but we still play together, and I just kind of have been doing a lot of solo shows. So it's just kind of me, and then I'll sometimes, if I can bring a trio or a 5-piece or whatever, I'll kind of call whoever I love and who's available, and we'll just do a show. And so it's sort of it's not a true band anymore, but sometimes it's a band, if that makes sense.
So before I ask you about Tedeschi Trucks Band, which I know you play with, I discovered today something called a band called Six Shooter.
What are you talking about? I've never heard of that before.
Well, I started playing it. I couldn't find it on Spotify, but I did find it on YouTube. And Cheryl said, "Is that a female?"
You know, I think it's time for me to put the pasta in. So no.
That was not exactly what I said.
It looked like a very young.
The person that had the
Gabe
blondish
Dixon.
hair, I was like, I can't tell if it's a girl or not.
For those who have no idea what they're talking about, I had a mullet in 8th grade.
I didn't notice that. Not in the picture.
A very
And
young Gabe Dixon.
You were adorable. You were adorable.
From age 12 to about 16, I was in a teen country boy band called Six Shooter.
It really was.
They were
It
adorable.
was. Absolutely.
We were in,
One finds out all sorts of
And
stuff.
then we transitioned to Tedeschi Trucks. So how fun is that to tour with Tedeschi Trucks?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I was already a fan of theirs before joining their band, and honestly, it's the style and the music is just right up my alley. And
Same here.
Yeah.
Derek
Love
is
it.
like, Derek was already my favorite guitar player. You know, since the first time I saw him, my band and his band were both on Atlanta Music Midtown Festival back in 2001 or 2, and that's the first time I heard him. And man, he's just been my favorite ever since. And same with Susan. My band did some shows with Allman Brothers Band, and we were on the side stage, and Susan was on the main stage. And the first time I heard her voice, I was just like, "Who is this?" So to get to play with them, and they're some of the best musicians in the world. So I have to be on my game, you know. When I'm up there and we kick into the first song, I'm just like, "Oh man, can't phone this one in," you know. Yeah, so it's been a real blast, especially just from a musical standpoint, you know, from a playing standpoint. I haven't gotten to play B3 that much in a while. So anyway, hey, you guys went away. Where'd you go?
We're back. We're back.
We accidentally went away.
Just by accident.
I'm gonna flip the camera around. So Gabe, do we have the pasta in the water yet?
No, but it can go in.
All right. Awesome.
Let's do that.
We'll let you get back to it. We've
Okay.
chatted you up.
All right. Here we go. And these Brussels are almost ready. So, let's see. Yeah. I got to kind of check on them. Wow. Okay. I think they're ready. So now the pasta cooks for basically 8 minutes, I think. I don't know. I have a question for you, because I'm sure, Bill, you make pasta from time to time, and Cheryl. When it comes to when it's done, when it's al dente, I don't
you throw it on the ceiling?
Some people like to throw it against the wall, I know, or whatever, but I bite into one of them,
right.
And just, if there's still some uncooked part ring in the middle, then I like to get just past that point, and then I feel like the pasta's ready. Is that kind of how you do it, or do you have another method?
No, I think I agree with you. I think biting into it is absolutely the best way to do it. Take one strand out and bite into it and see if it's, you know, the way that you like it. I think that's much better than throwing it on the ceiling to see if it sticks. I think two episodes ago we made fresh pasta, and obviously when you're making fresh pasta, it cooks much quicker, about 2 to 3 minutes. And there, I think what we talked about is as soon as it comes to the top and floats, then it's done.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
But
That's not going to work for this. Who knows how old this pasta is? But, let's see. Hold on. How do I? Yeah.
let me go see if we've got some questions.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Gabe, your kids, are they big pasta fans, and do they ever get in the kitchen with you?
They do, yeah. They're big pasta fans. They always like it when I make this dish. Pretty much any pasta is a kind of guaranteed win. And we have a 3-year-old, so there are a lot of things that we make that are not wins for him.
Right.
You have to kind of like sit there for like an hour trying to get him to eat it. But pasta, he'll devour some pasta.
Well, that's good. That's good.
I remember being that way when I was a kid too. Like when
Oh, yeah.
You know, my parents actually raised me vegetarian too, and so I pasta for whatever reason was like to die for. Like anytime we had pasta, it was like, yeah, you know, me and my brother. It's kind of like if you want the night to go well, make some pasta.
Yep.
There won't be any fights about dinner.
Yeah.
So,
Well, a pure carnivore. If that could be a political party, that might be a good thing.
yeah, maybe. Wow.
So Gabe, we had come in from Tara,
Yay.
and she was asking about your garden. Have you always garden, or is it a COVID thing? She says your garden looks great.
The garden looks great. You think? Honestly, we need to do some weeding of the garden, but I appreciate hearing that. So one thing we are growing Brussels sprouts this year, and we didn't really know anything about Brussels sprouts, so we just planted them in the spring, and they've grown into these giant. They look like massive Brussels sprouts that have opened up, and we haven't seen any real Brussels sprouts yet. So I don't know if we're supposed to wait longer or what, but
yeah, the one thing that I've learned, I had dill this year. So dill is good for keeping other bugs off of, say, your basil and so on. But what I do is, as they begin to grow taller, you know, keep pushing them down, and that pushes, you know, the water nutrients into, you know, making the Brussels sprouts. So my dill ended up being about 4 feet tall, went to seed, and I really didn't get any dill.
It
So
wasn't pretty.
oh no.
I'm figuring out that part and not grow wild. Bird is
Yeah. Keep it at the top, and that keeps everything growing more from the body of it.
you get more tomatoes.
Yeah, this year was not a good year for tomatoes for us.
Planted one tomato plant.
Yeah, but we got
We have a few. We have a few tomatoes, but we didn't plant very many. So we have some normal tomato plants, and then we have the little bitty grape tomatoes. And whenever one turns red, like my 3-year-old, just somehow he knows. He just knows, and he's like, it's gone.
Right.
But you know, it's kind of nice to be able to just go out there and get stuff. This is the most we've ever grown our own food because we can never do this really because I'm not really home very often. So it's nice to be able to like dig in a little bit, literally, and you know, we've had a bunch of mint, and we've had some dill, and we've had some other things. What did we have? Peppers and some lemon basil.
ooh, yum.
Nice.
Which is pretty good. I don't know.
Well, we a flip over the past few years. My husband's growing an orchard on our front yard.
What do you talk like an apple orchard?
No, we kind of went the way of,
We call it the orchard.
yeah, it's kind of the tag name given to it, because Billy's in his orchard checking all of his trees and stuff. But we have a Meyer lemon, we have a lime, we have kiwis coming, we have avocado.
And now we have banana.
He
with
bought
banana
a banana. Really?
Do they wouldn't produce any bananas though where you live, right?
Yeah, no,
Eventually.
I mean, I think so. But I've learned
Wow.
I don't expect to get any fruit for 3 years.
Everything's 3 years here.
First, I've got to get the established so that below, say, the frost, because we do have we don't really have a lot of do have frogs. Try and get the plant in the spring. The roots a good 2 feet down, and then I just plan on waiting 3 years before plants start bearing fruit. Our lemons this year, the Meyer lemons, are huge, but I figured out it takes 12 months for the lemons to turn yellow on the tree before they turn yellow.
Wow. We had a Meyer lemon tree as well, and they never turned yellow. I don't know why, but
did they produce good lemons?
yeah, they had they looked like limes.
Okay.
And they were smaller than lemons.
Gotcha.
But
To turn. So we have nice big lemons, and one fell off and I cut into it. Definitely wasn't ready yet.
No, but it was still yummy. It's just incredible. Hey, tip came in from Jen Bowman, just you two gardeners know. Dill, onions, garlic, keep away rodents, garden.
True that.
So
did you say dill, onions, and garlic?
yes, and I know that our neighbors, they'll plant and they'll marigold around it, and it's supposed to keep aphids things off your tomato.
Wow.
So that's our garden for today.
That's very valuable information. Next year.
Yep.
Next year I'll do that.
For sure.
I saw another comment from Emily. Emily says she loves cooking shows. She loves Gabe Dixon.
Oh.
Wow. She came to the right place, I guess.
I think Amy did remind me that
Thank you.
it's a wine steward. And I know we've referenced that a couple of times for those of us that know this very well. The first 2 years of FDI Fest, we did called a family meal, and it was a down lunch. And our the wine for the guests. And we had more fun watching, participating with that. So thanks for doing that, Gabe.
Oh, of course. That was fun. I got to be the wine pourer.
Yeah.
And the sort of a host, I guess.
Yep. We also survey after the festival to, just learn what people liked and so on. There were lots of comments about Gabe Dixon's wine.
Really? About how I had no idea what I was doing?
How good you were.
So, a simple question is, what was your favorite part about FDI Fest over 2 days and 18 hours of music like that? And it was like, Gabe Dixon poured wine.
And last year I did a tasting. We did a tasting.
Yeah, you were our tasting at the local wine, which was also a lot of fun. It was quite crowded, and it was fun to watch you go through that with them.
I remember, yeah, that was a good time. I learned more about wine than I knew, for sure. For example, corks, like wine cork and a screw top wine. There's really no difference in quality, though it's kind of like everybody's like, oh, the cork is better, it's going to taste better, and stuff. But apparently,
I think we've got it.
I always thought it was like if it was a screw top bottle, then it was supposed to be cheaper or not as good. But that's a myth. But
It is
absolutely. How are we doing on your Brussels and your pasta?
the Brussels are done. I should probably take them out.
Yeah, let's take a look. I haven't.
Wow. Yeah, they're definitely done. I like them nice and sort of charred.
We do too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a little bit of char on the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
On most of those, to be honest.
Yeah.
Tell me how to put. So I have this like red wine vinegar. Is that gonna work for balsamic or no?
Yeah, you probably want specifically balsamic. It has
sweeter.
It has a sweetness to it, but it also has a thicker viscosity.
Okay.
People like all sorts of vinegars. I mean, we picked up a fig vinegar this weekend to make dressings with, but I mean, it's totally up to you. You can always just splash a little bit on it.
Apple cider
I want
vinegar.
to test it before the kids try it.
Yeah, I think to be safe. Oh, what about rice vinegar? Would that be no, maybe not.
I don't think so.
That's your sushi.
Either way, probably what I would do, even if you're using the red wine vinegar, I would put it in a pan and reduce it by half, and then take that, concentrate a little bit, and sprinkle that on it at the end. But
yeah,
I think I might skip the vinegar this time.
Yep.
and definitely do it next time, because
Yeah.
that sounds like, just in my head, even though I'm not a great cook necessarily, it just sounds like it would be delicious. So
I agree. It was a great recommendation. I can't remember Kai recommended it. I think, just it's an added layer of flavor to those Brussels sprouts. I think it's a great. Oh, you know why I brought it up is balsamic vinegar and strawberries are a classic combination. You could do a little bit of that reduced.
So I could do the little syrup on top.
Yeah, on top of your mousse.
Yeah.
Not a bit. Hey, so Gabe, I had one other music question for you.
Okay.
When I was reading Wikipedia, it talked about Rolling Ball record label. Are you still involved in that?
yeah, it just releases my own albums.
You're the only artist on it.
I'm the only artist on Rolling Ball Records.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Because after the One Spark album, I decided to just go independent, because a lot of my friends had been releasing independent records since the start,
Right.
But I somehow ended up on labels, and so I thought, well, what'll this be like? So I released my Turns to Gold album independently, and at some point in the process, I had to come up with a record label name.
Yeah.
And what was the significance of Rolling Ball?
Well, my first band album that was on Warner Brothers was called On a Rolling Ball.
Gotcha.
Which came from one of the lyrics of one of my songs. So I just thought Rolling Ball Records sounds good. Perfect. So,
Perfect.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about this for a second.
Please.
I'm sort of like, I'm not like a by the book guy when it comes to cooking. Like I'll serve the pasta here and then the Brussels sprouts on the other side.
Absolutely.
But I have actually just mixed everything together in the past.
Wow.
The pasta and the Brussels, so it's like a Brussels sprout penne sun-dried tomato pasta, and it actually tastes fine.
You do you, Gabe. This is your dinner.
So usually,
and we all learn something new every time somebody does a dish with us.
So I'm curious to know, do you guys usually have? You seem to be really interested in cooking. Do you have, during normal times, do you have a lot of dinner parties, or
we cook fresh every day.
So Gabe, you might not know. So I went to culinary school. Used to be a chef for a while. And when I met Cheryl, she had just sold her bakery. So Cheryl owned a bakery for 10 years.
I did commercial catering.
In catering, exactly. But that was 15 years ago for both of us.
Yeah.
And so now we use those skills mostly to throw dinner parties. That's exactly what we do.
or for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I didn't know that until just now, because if I'd known that I was going to be on with professional chefs, I probably would have told you no.
He carries the paper. I do not. So there's nothing professional here. But it all boils down to, what is it that you like? What's fun to cook? Are you spending time with your kids in the kitchen? Are you gardening? I mean, there's so many things that it sounds like you've been doing. And even though the gardening might not be a regular thing, I think once you get a taste of it, you figure out how to continue doing it even on a smaller scale. For us, it's, we live in an area where fresh fish is everywhere. So, typically now when we do a protein, it's usually fish.
Yeah,
what can we do? Yeah.
I mean, if you're that close to the source,
exactly.
I bet it's pretty dang good.
Yeah, it is.
It's not hard for us to get fish at a fishmonger that was caught that morning, and there's nothing like that.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have.
Is it all together?
I have some pasta ready now. That
Okay.
Excellent.
I can show you what I
Let's
do.
plate it up.
Giada recommends actually getting some tongs and pulling the penne out.
Yes.
Which is kind of, I had never heard of. I always used a strainer, So I just kind of grab the pasta and put it in with the sauce.
Yeah, that starchy water, Gabe, helps that sauce become a little more velvety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
wow, I didn't realize.
Right into the sauce.
Yeah,
Sure.
it looks fantastic.
It's going to be, I mean, the thing about this, I know it seems like it takes a while, but it's so easy. Like it's a really simple recipe. It doesn't take a super long time. You don't have to do anything overnight or soak anything. Or, you know, it's kind of like takes about when I'm a terrible multitasker, so I'm taking extra long this time. But when it's just me, I mean, this takes like 30 minutes. Or
Yeah.
40 minutes, you know.
Absolutely.
Most meals do not take more than 30 minutes. You can make everything fresh, and typically 30 minutes is most meals. Yeah. It's funny. So our camera person today is our niece, Emma Olson. And so I'm looking, you know, at the camera, but on the other side is, you should see her face. Her eyebrows keep going, ooh, this looks really good.
Yes.
I'm not watching what you're making. I'm just watching her face in all of what you're making.
I love it. Oh my God. Well, I would be happy to make this in person for you anytime.
Anytime. We can come to you. You can come to us. Either
Only
way.
750 miles, like you said.
11 hours. We'll be there.
That is the beauty of this. Like I've connected with people who I wouldn't necessarily have gotten to, you know, because of all this, everything virtual and the Zooming and the StreamYard and all of that. So
Yeah.
I love this. Okay, I think I got all the pasta. And they say to add just a little bit of water, you know, maybe like a quarter cup of water.
Yep.
And then I get my spatula somewhere. Oh, here it is. Basically, I stir it all up, and you can't, it's hard to see, but.
Oh, that looks yummy. I can see the tomatoes.
Yeah, it's like you just stir the pasta in with the sauce and coat it totally. Sorry, let's see if I
It sounds good. I have to tell you that.
And the vegan Parmesan, so that you put on the plate late.
No, I actually mixed the vegan.
Okay.
Oh, so you have a chance to melt.
I mixed it with the tomato stuff first.
Oh,
So that's what I put the pasta into, is that mixture.
okay.
And we'll share that recipe, but the primary component of the vegan Parmesan is cashews, right? Raw
That's
cashews.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not quite the same, so it doesn't melt like regular Parmesan.
No, but you get that mouthfeel that you're looking for.
Yeah, somehow. I don't fully know why, but
Yeah.
somehow.
Together with nutritional yeast, which I don't even know what it is, but it's yummy.
It works.
Yeah.
Nutritional yeast somehow brings a cheesiness to it.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is about nutritional yeast. It kind of is melty. And then basically, we're pretty much done here. I'm going to pour this pasta on the plate. Yeah, on the bowl here.
And you get to hold it up to the camera so we can all be very hungry.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Looking good.
I know.
I'll work on my presentation a little bit, but you know, this is basically it. We have
There you go.
That looks phenomenal.
and
How
dried
about you,
tomato.
Cheryl? What do you got?
Oh, we are done with ours, Gabe. So if you can see that,
What?
see how fluffy it is? We get to taste it. You can taste yours,
That is so awesome.
but you see, I mean, it's nice and fluffy. And if you told me that there was chickpea juice in there, I would not believe you. It's really yummy. It's super light. Super.
I don't think of dessert when I think of chickpea juice.
No. No, I think this is the type of dessert that you just make for people. They say, wow, this is amazing. What's in it? And then you tell them about the chicken.
Or you don't.
Or don't.
But hopefully you'll get to
Finish.
eat it, and I can't wait to hear if your kids like it, because I think this is pretty tasty.
I need that recipe, please. Send it to me.
Well, not only will we post it on our Facebook page,
We'll get it
but
to you.
I will text it to you as well.
Okay.
So my last question to you, Gabe, is can we talk you into playing a song for us?
Yeah.
Pretty please.
We're going to go from Gabe's kitchen camera to the living room camera.
Yeah. I have a special camera set up
To the piano camera.
Yes.
for the piano.
And
And maybe I
just enjoy Gabe.
Down the hall.
Let's see if we can do this technology seamlessly.
This is the camera that people are used to seeing for your Friday night shows.
Right. This is my.
All right, I'm going to go over here so I can bring in the other camera.
And we had so much fun watching your show the other night. We propped up the cell phone and Bill's speaker on the side of the pool and just floated around watching you.
That's so awesome.
It was.
You couldn't do that even at Space. That's
No.
at a venue. All right, I just have to see if I can, because I think my sound here with the mic and everything is going to be better than my phone sound. So let me see if we can switch this up. Hang on.
You got to bring in the other camera.
Did he bring it in? Does he have the link?
Gabe, can you bring in the other camera?
Yeah, because we can't hear it. Don't show me.
There we go. He's almost there. 1 second. Nope.
Got you guys.
We did. Hey, Gabe, take this camera off of mute.
There you go.
Okay.
So you know your other camera? I think it's your laptop camera.
Yes.
You got to bring that
Into the studio.
into the studio.
Okay.
You got to launch that link.
All right. Here we go. Is that there yet?
Not yet.
Wait,
No.
Okay.
We did
go
try
back
it
to-
earlier today, and it worked pretty well.
Let me go back to your original link, and I'll do it.
Okay.
We're gonna make this work.
Yes. Here we go.
There we go.
This is the good part of. Did it show up or no?
Not yet.
Okay. This is gonna work. This is how you know it's live.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Even though we did it earlier.
Yes. All right. So let's make sure we're good audio. And now let's try it. There we go.
There you go. Awesome.
Okay, and you got
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yay. Okay. Can you hear the piano? All right. Well, the other one, the video you played in the middle was kind of a what was it? It's more of like a funky kind of song. So I'll play a small, more introspective song. Actually, you know what? I just released a new song on Friday. Maybe I'll play this one. It's sort of about the times that we're living in. And I wrote it with some good friends of mine named Garrison Starr and Maya Sharp. Garrison was part of the TFDI Fest one year, a couple years. And we wrote this song, and hopefully you find some hope in it. This is called Smoke Clears. We all got reasons we're fighting for. Who will we be at the end of this war? Through the window, behind the door, will we ever change? Bloodshot crying for a better view. I can't wait to blur the lines we drew. Looking past me, looking past you. Nothing's set in stone. And every day it's taking more. Trying to do it different than we did before. Are we gonna make it to an even better place? We'll only really know when the smoke clears and we can breathe again. When the smoke clears, yeah, we'll see it all then. What do we do with all the settled dust? What's the truth, what it says about us? It'll never be the same as it was. Every day I wonder when the world will ever start to turn again. Are we gonna make it all for something? We'll only really know when the smoke clears and we can breathe again. When the smoke clears. Yeah, we'll see it all when the smoke clears. Oh, when the smoke clears. Yeah, when the smoke clears. Oh, when the smoke clears.
Thank you, Gabe.
Thank you, Gabe.
Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Cheers to you. Cheers to your family.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. Thanks, y'all. Enjoy the
Thanks.
food.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.